there, but you know we weren't really seeing Chris J. We weren't really seeing Nex. Like we weren't
Nex
seeing
is just
Dennis.
completely gone.
So where you know they need to start waking up a little bit on Mousesports' side as well if they want to end this on a 2-for-2 night rather instead of just winning one map and then losing 3. That would kind of be unacceptable right now for Mousesports considering the level they're playing at. I think.
No, absolutely. I would definitely agree with that. They could have gotten away with this 4-0 and put themselves in a really good position to just to qualify for the line playoffs.
Yeah.
Because these are the first game Mousesports are actually playing in the league this season, so they could have gotten off to a 4-0 start, just been like, look at us, we're kind of just beasting everybody.
They're still like the middling opponents that they're going up against, right? The NiP, the G2. They've still got like the raid boss.
But those are
like
the kind of teams they have to win against.
But you're right.
If they want to qualify,
they have those are the maps that they just have to dominate. And what is this strategy coming out from NiP? Oh buddy, it's gonna be a blender moment, Ven.
Ooh,
you remember?
Kittens in a blender.
And who are going to be the kittens this time? It's looking like it's going to be Mouse. And yes, the trade is going through, and Get Right just forces his will on Mousesports. He even sees the man coming in from sewers, and it's going to be Nico just jumping in. Goes for a bit of the Glock Burstarino, and he's going to get sprayed down so very low. He still hangs in there, though, and somehow we've wound up into a 1v1. And there's also Nico with only 1 HP, and 1 decoy, and 1 flash.
And a dream.
1 Glock. What more?
It's pretty much a hope and a dream. That's all he has for himself right now. I guess the one benefit exists doesn't have armor.
Fair enough.
So if you can really get lucky with the aim punch here, he might be able to do something. But right now, the problem for Exist right now is just figuring out where to position himself, because obviously he can't be at both places at the same time. He definitely doesn't want to be in the middle of both bomb sites, because that leaves him with so much less time to actually do a retake. He does have a defuse kit though, which is a pretty big benefit here.
See, he's gambling on that A site though right now. Exist.
Oh.
Yeah, and you're right. He has that kit, so he's managed to find where Freiburg died. He picked that up, but this all comes down to whether he's going to be able to catch out Nico, because Nico's going to have all the time in the world to plant. I mean, Nico obviously doesn't know this. This is why he's so wary. He's checking all these angles because he doesn't know where Exist is playing from, but he's going to be able to get a decent afterplant position off of this decoy, this default plant that he set up. And now, where's Exist going to come from?
Yeah. For all Exists now, or like that bomb plant doesn't tell him anything. Nico could literally be anywhere on the map. And, well, Exist taking his time. And this is kind of the benefit he gets from having that diffuse kit. He gets to get up close and personal. He's going to make a noise now, and this is where it gets really tricky.
Oh, buddy, Nico, he took 1 step too many there. Needed to go for the shoulder peek again just to keep Exist off of it, but with 1 HP, I mean, what can you do? He felt like he had to go for the big play. Yeah,
it's a really tall order to expect Nico to do something. But you're right. If you want a shot at it, you kind of have to do the shoulder peeks constantly.
He really committed to that fight.
Yeah. Or just hope that Exist is nervous enough that it just sticks the diffuse.
But I mean, at least Mousesports, from what could have been a horrible situation, they still get a bomb plant out of it, right? So
true.
It's not like some weird force buy sort of situation that they'd be going into now with Tech9s and Kevlar. Instead, they're going to just be, making a minimal investment here. Double flash picked up on Speedy, couple of pistols picked up. I mean, I like that Pyth is just going to dunk a nade down into the main pipe to sewer, just because Nico was showing in the match earlier that he likes to camp out here, wait to see if somebody's going to go for the jump peek. And he did hit that shot versus RPK earlier tonight, so I mean, he's on point, Nico. He can definitely make that happen.
It's going to be interesting to see how NiP actually deal with the fact that Nico's constantly going to be a nuisance towards the B-bomb site once they get weapons on them. It's super effective versus G2, and they didn't really find a good way to deal with it until they swapped out RPK from that monster area with Scream. But at that point, it was kind of too late already. I think it was 8-2 or something when they started doing something about it.
Yeah, and Scream did do an effective job of shutting down Nico. The only problem is you had Dennis, who was playing out of his mind, and then Nex as well. Well, let's see. Get right. He wants to make that money, and he's only going to get $600 out of it. Dennis hunts him down. Flash is going to set up for the peak, however, and well, so far Mousesports, they're being this is getting pretty pricey for them. They aren't really getting too much out of it. Nice shots coming in from Freiburg here. And Forrest, 2 kills for him with the UMP, 1 for Get Right, and 1 for Freiburg with that MP7. So, yeah, 2 for Freiburg at the end. So all SMG kills. That's like as good as it gets for one of these quasi SMG buys.
Yeah, it's kind of needed as well, because given the eco that Mousesports had, they're obviously going to take the eco because of the bomb plant in the pistol, so they can buy up here. And I would have really liked to see Freiburg upgrade You got 2 kills. Don't be greedy. But
Yeah, right, staying on the U.
yeah, I think it's fair to stay on the UMP. I think the MP7 might be a tad bit greedy, especially because he has got 3.7 to use here.
Mm-hmm. No, it is perhaps a little questionable. I mean, it depends on the position. If he's playing close quarters like this, okay, there's an argument to use the MP7. It shoots so quickly and it's so precise. I mean, if you get the drop on someone, you can get a kill.
Yeah.
I think what you're thinking is, you know, it's just like, well, if you get into that kind of situation where it's 2 people coming at you,
then
are you going to be able to spray them down fast enough? Well,
there we go.
To demonstrate. Freiberg, double kill, and Forrest, he pulled the trigger just a little bit too quickly there. He will get the flick, though, and Chris J annihilated.
That's the bomb as well. So, bomb dropped in no man's land. I'm pretty sure Forrest saw that, but obviously, with only 2 people towards that A bomb site, they can't really hold off that bomb the entirety of this time. NiKo's going to go down to assist, all down to next, and he's going to die as well. That's a pretty solid round from NiP. Freiberg getting the most out of his weaponry in that situation. Sitting on 8K, going to have to buy up, but what? Okay, he's going to buy an MP9. He's just going full greed mode.
He is, man. He wants to make the money. Look at that.
Yeah.
And in this sort of scenario, it makes sense.
Yeah, but it's still greedy.
We'll see if it pays off, right?
Yeah.
Gotta
Gotta
get a couple of kills here. Gotta get a couple of kills for it to really work. But he is playing close again, close to connector. So if they do decide to try and push through the smoke eventually here, Mousesports, it could get hairy for him. But Freiberg and Forrest, both they were holding aggressive, and they're figuring out that it might be a little bit too hot to handle out here at the top of mid. So they're gonna fall back to restroom, fall back to that A site, set up the defense, consolidate. And now we got to see Freiberg. He gives away his position. Now they know Mousesports that they've got an MP9 waiting for him.
Speaking of actually making that moolah, look at the name of that MP9. Hand of Midas.
Oh, yeah. Get that farm. Wow, Freiberg, man, he is just shredding him right now. Could get another? Yes, he will. 3 kills for him. Speedy's going to catch out Forrest. That's the op down. Freiberg, basically, will come back into it, pick up a quad kill at the end. 3 of those SMG kills. I mean, just perfect. As good as it gets, really. $10,000 already, and we're only in the 5th round.
Yeah, and what's really scary for Mousesports is the fact that they lost the first map there on Cash with winning both pistol rounds. That's something that you normally don't see, and the fact that NiP already done one better this time around, picking up the pistol round, getting off to a great start. Now they actually have a full economy, full buys, and they're actually going to be able to hold on to that and do that a couple of times before they actually have to eco. That could potentially be a disaster for Mousesports. They're not going to get into that good groove that they got versus G2.
Oh, nice. I mean, close call there. Chris J was definitely scoped, but he backs out just as Forrest comes around that corner. It's a little bit of info gained, but no kill here for either side. Bit of a fair exchange. We do have the 3 players down here on B site. It's going to be a while before they get some company. NiKo, he has been showing that he really does favor the sewers area and short, so he's going to be looking for a target to have fun with, but not going to find anything thanks to the smoke. And in the meantime, his teammates moving up long, getting that bomb out there, and slowly working together as a unit. I like it. This is how it needs to work. Move together so you're close enough to be able to actually refrag for each other in case you drop on someone.
Mousesports didn't do a whole lot of executes really versus G2, mainly because NiKo or someone else on the Mousesports team were able to find opening picks so early on in the round that they were never really forced to do it. The one thing they did, they set up for a smoke execute towards A, which bungled pretty heavily.
Oh, the timing.
Wow.
That is horrendous. That is going to be incredibly frustrating for NiKo. And Forrest wins the duel versus Speedy as well. So it's just not getting any easier here. Forrest still safe. They haven't lost control of long. He's just going to drop the smoke to play it safe. Incendiary as well, just to buy more time. And with 25 seconds left on this clock, Mousesports, they're running out of time. They're going to have to make their move fairly soon here, Ben.
Well, they're going to have to do it now, and I think NiP are onto it. You can see the rotations coming in as well. NiP are going to be 4 people on that A-bomb site. Well, Freiberg's already exterminating people. Get right. Joins in on the fun. It's all down to next, and he's not going to find anything at all. This is not going the way of Mousesports.
And this, I'm wondering now if we're seeing that situation where when a team is so far ahead on the first map and they feel, and then they lose it, right? Whether it's, in 30 rounds or in overtime, then they just like mentally check out because they're so focused on that first map that they could have won that they never actually get their heads in the game for the second map where they still have a chance.
Yeah, they're still thinking about the first game, like how they gave it away, that type of thing.
Okay.
Oh, sick.
He can get it down like that.
Without jumping.
Without the jump. I love it. Thank you very much.
That's sick.
Take note.
I remember Kerrigan talking about that, why he wanted jump scripts, because he couldn't do smokes like that without it. But you can.
You can, exactly. I mean, it's just a matter of like, well, jump scripts are 100% and they're easy. So, you know, or you just figure out how to do it the hard way like Exist just did. Props. All right, but a quick B-take coming in here from Mousesports, and with these pistols and the aggression, they're actually finding it. But then the spray through the smoke. The plant gets denied by Pyth, and now they're going to have to set up for a little bit of a weaker plant. The angle gets held, dunk nade goes in, and man, a perfect hold coming out from NiP, only losing Exist in the end. Was it Exist who threw it? I thought it was Exist.
Either Exist or Get, right.
One or the other,
I
but
can't recall. But in any case, it actually looked like the setup was pretty easy as well. You lined it up with the upper part of the post and threw it once your crosshair hit the second part.
Yeah, that was really well thought out.
Yeah, quick to set up, lands in time. You're all good. So that's really sick. Well, Molotov down towards short here to keep NiKo away, and they're setting up for the boost, as you can see Exist. They really want to keep NiKo away from there, which is understandable.
Just need to make sure they hold on to some nades to work with later. I think they have a boost going over there at the wall as well, Exist. Yeah. So he's just waiting to see if anybody comes out from connector. Considering the fact that NiKo really loves to come through that main pipe, it's a little bit of a dangerous boost to be using because he will land that headshot.
I think that's why they've used both mollies, just to see if anybody's pushing up early on towards the underpass area, trying to get some map control, because that's what Mousesports did a lot versus G2. That's what they focused heavily on with the 4 other members who weren't NiKo. It's a very efficient way of actually dealing with that from NiP, so that's cool to see.
Stay on NiKo, 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 stay on NiKo.
There we go. This has to be a jump throw.
Has to be a jump throw. No?
Yeah, there we go.
I mean, nice.
Right in the bucket.
Nice nade. Next. Opens it up. Next with the double entry. And there you go. B-side defense obliterated. Get right has rotated in fairly quickly, though, so he will be buying a little bit of time at least. Question is now, can they get the bomb plant? There's the smoke, but he gets spotted and Get right there with the denial, and he's going to be able to push forward. He just goes leaping in. What a play from Get right. He was really trying to go ham there. Freiberg's going to roast next, and Freiberg with the double, and he brings it back to a 2-on-2, and then denies the bomb plant again. Well, not quite, but it is the 1v1 clutch. A little bit of a lack of luck there for NiP. Freiberg was just a split second too late. That would have been the play, though. That would have tombed Chris J, and instead it's going to be Forrest winning the duel versus Chris J. So nothing going Mousesports' way. They get the bomb plant, but then they just can't hold.
Yay, bomb plan. On full money bonus anyway.
Still, that was Get right. That was a bit of a BDP right there. Just like, you know what?
Yeah.
YOLO.
It really was. It would have been, actually, that situation probably would have liked to have a P90.
Ha!
Like, probably would have been pretty nice, actually. Well, 7-0 for NiP and Mousesports. Butt up in the NOP, so we're going to see either you know, Tech 9's coming out from Chris J in the following round if they lose this, or they're just going to have to eco if they want to get that op up. I like this from NiP, though. This is really cool. Like, they know what Mousesports are doing, and it doesn't seem like Mousesports are able to adapt properly.
NiKo, I'm kind of curious. He seems to be the one to have that confidence right now on Mousesports to really try and force things, but it's just not working when you try. And it's like watching Shoxy on G2 when he gets that frustration going. You can tell.
Yeah, on Dust 2, it's like, I'm doing the Shoxy push.
Yeah, I'm just going to run all over the place and try and, you know, force something to happen.
Yeah.
A lot of the time it backfires.
But Mousesports ran into this versus G2 as well. Once G2 made that swap of, ooh, nice shot from Nex. But once they made that swap from RPK and Scream, then all of a sudden G2 started picking up rounds, but Mousesports didn't really change up their play. NiKo was still trying to find openings towards B.
Chris J knows that Forrest is out here on long.
Yeah.
That was graceful.
Well,
that looks so zen. Like just like glided the crosshair onto Forrest. Easy.
Okay, then. Gun barrel?
Gun barrel, most likely. Yeah, that was sick, though. Nice little wall bang. Man advantage here for Mouse, and this is the best. I mean, this is the best chance they've had so far to turn it around for themselves.
If they can't hold on to this round, then I don't leave them with much hope.
Oh, the longest spray in the history of sprays, but it doesn't matter because next we'll get both.
I think he planted every single bullet through that pipe.
He really believed, man. He was really forcing it. It's a shame that the second player there didn't spot who it was, didn't come through that smoke a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Might have been able to get a save going there, but...
In any case, Mousesports do get their first round on the board, and, well, that puts them in an awkward position where they could get completely reset. Luckily, they did keep a couple of members alive. The op on Chris didn't have to get rebought. That seems to be pretty effective for them. It's actually the first time we've seen Forrest push aggressively down there into underpass.
That's true. This time around, Chris is ready for him. Dennis, really trying to force the issue over here. He's alone. He's got no support. And he does finally, wisely decide to back off. I mean, he kept 2 players active on that B site for NiP, so his job is done. If he'd have stuck around and died, that would have been a real problem. Now NiP have to worry about him still being around here on this B site.
Still 2 players on A for NiP, though, so they can muster up a pretty decent defense.
Just chaos right now. The truck, Optimus literally keeping Get Right alive. The metal getting in the way. And NiKo, he'll catch out Freiberg, but Get Right's still here. He's got 6 bullets, though, so it's not ideal. You have to be accurate. NiKo's only got the 10 HP, and Chris J, he's hunting for a shot. And there we go, Get Right waiting for that peekaboo, but he's going to just wait a little bit too long there. Dennis will be able to find him and remove him. And now it's Exist looking for the clutch, but it's not going to happen. Mousesports, they're starting to wake up a little bit. 2 rounds in a row here.
Wow. Feels like a bit of a must. I think they need to get up to something like 6 rounds if they want to keep it up. Because we have to keep in mind that they got off to such a good start, but that we really didn't get to see much of their CT side on overpass being tested. So we're not really sure what they're made of. Although the little we did see, it seemed pretty solid from their side, especially with Chris Opping being so mobile, and obviously NiKo and Nex hitting their shots.
Yeah, Chris, it was overpass that he didn't really have too much of an impact on. It was on Dust 2 that he woke up, right?
Yeah, on his CT setup, Dust 2, yeah.
Curious. Well, flashes all over the place. Everybody full blind. Pyth never knew what hit him. And Speedy's there with the double entry. It's going to be Get Right now trying to fall back. He's waiting in pool, playing the angle. Smokes are down, and he's actually just going to go and set it up. There's the flash through. Just goes barreling in. Gets a surprise kill, but then double kill coming right back at him, and it's all down to Forrest. He gets a leg shot on Chris, but that's just not good enough.
Very quick and very solid B execute there from Mousesports. And again, they seem to kind of catch NiP by surprise. The first round they picked up was also a sudden B execute. So maybe they found the weakness in the armor of NiP.
I mean, this change of pace. They tried to slow play it, and NiP, they were perfectly fine with that. They were winning all the engagements. What's crazy is that Freiberg, I mean, granted, a few of those were eco frags, right? But he's sitting on 17 kills right now. Pretty solid performance coming in from him. So we'll have to see if he can maintain that level going into the T side. Forrest calmly strolls into death, into the great deep in the dark. Well, Nexus is perfectly happy to allow Freiberg to join him as well. There's a 3rd man waiting on long. That's going to be Get Right with that CZ75. Perfectly happy to bait his teammates in the hopes of getting a kill here and maybe a rifle to work with.
Like, surely they can't be more here, right? That's what he wants them to believe. Speedy's not going to check.
Oh. But Nex is waiting.
Yeah.
Still gets a kill. Unreal. From that range as well. Alright, that was impressive, Get Right. But this gets a little tricky.
Yeah, it's like, the bomb's dropped, but not really a lot you can do about it. And Mousesports is just going to ignore Get Right for now. He's not that big of a threat, to be honest, as of right now. CZ only.
And catching out Pyth and Exist both pretty much opens everything up. They know where Get Right's playing from. He's going to get caught by Speedy, wins that duel. But regardless, that would have been a B-site plant for Mousesports and pretty much the round of the bag. So now NiP after that round, they're going to be able to go for the full bite. No AWP for Forrest, even though he had the money to go Glass Cannon if he wanted to. So interesting choice here. I guess just preferring to get the utility, obviously. Surprised still that they're opting to get those helmets. That could have been an HE on Forrest. It could have even been a kit. So, a little bit of a mismanagement on the eco side of things coming out here for the CT side, but still a pretty decent buy, all things considered. Mousesports, of course, they have money for days. They can full buy no problem.
Yeah, they're looking at 4 rounds in a row, so they're in a pretty good spot. Ooh, tempting faith, Pyth.
Came close. He came so close. NiKo. Would be pretty
Freiburg's
sick for him.
really alone here. Like, he has nobody around him. Forrest is playing so far back.
Actually, you're right. Not super big fan of this. They might never expect it, though. So right now, Mouse, they aren't spotting anybody. And there you go. Surprise, surprise. He drops the bomb carrier. And does he even make it out of here in one piece? It seems like it. He's going to go right down into connector. This is where we already have Dennis lurking. And Dennis, he's playing this so carefully. He's not willing to go for the fight. Instead, he's just going to hold the angle. Freiburg peeks into him, and Dennis lands the shot. Perfectly done. Very well done there by the German.
Absolutely. I think Freiburg started to get a bit of scared of actually being sandwiched once he backed off in towards underpass instead of just holding that position, which probably, well, obviously easy to say in hindsight, that probably would have been the better move, but a lot of map control for Mousesports right now, even though they're not really aware of it, but NiP are playing pretty passively on both sides.
Flashes all over the place, and the execute is going to come through. A little bit of a peek there from Pyth, and double again. Mousesports, they're so consistent at hitting these headshots right now. Speedy and Nico both delivering. Now they have the man advantage. Forrest is just going to go charging through, trying to deny the plant, and he will, well, pull the plant off, but there's still enough time to get it down. So Get Right, well, he needs to win the first duel, and he does. Tries to spray transfer, and he nearly gets it down, but then a perfect flash opens it up for Speedy to come over the boxes. And that's a 5th round in a row for Mousesports. So 7 rounds in a row for NiP. Do you believe in the dream, Ben, of Mousesports running it back 8 rounds?
I kind of do right now, because NiP has not really found an answer to Mousesports B executes. You can tell Pyth is getting flashed out pretty much every single time. Same thing with Exist. And yeah, they don't really have a solid answer. So unless NiP can find openings and just get away with a favorable trade, then this is going to be tough for them.
It's a big struggle.
Spee again.
But there's a triple stack on short, so this might actually catch Mousesports off guard. This is going to get nasty. Do they have a flash for it? Do they have anything? No. They actually got nades in their hands, and this is a little dicey. Pyth is going to open it up, and with that headshot, picks up 1, 2, and then Freiburg with a 3rd. Spitty and Chris J now the last 2 alive here for Mousesports, and I'm pretty surprised to see Chris J still alive, considering he was the first man in. But this is still perfect for NiP. The bomb is dropped at their feet. CZ's perfect range for them, as well as the Deagle to back him.
This is going to be tough.
See, he comes down to the angle, and there's the shot. Chris, not going to get it, but Freiburg hits the shot on Spitty, and now we're into the 1v2.
And now you can let Chris plant. Just don't let him run away.
Yeah, he's actually just going to get out of here. But they're already playing on this. Yeah, Forrest.
Is Chris going to turn now? Try to fake the def cam? Yeah. There we go.
This is some sick mind games. And I think he heard the steps. Yep, he heard the steps of Forrest up in mid. So he knows he has a little bit of time here to get that bomb plant down. He's going to plant covered from short as well. So if Forrest was somehow turned into like Flash Gordon or something, he wouldn't get caught out while he's getting that bomb down. And now Chris has got the angle. He can hit these shots for days. Only problem is Forrest isn't coming from there. He's going to go through Monster instead. But Chris, he's 1 step ahead. He sees it coming from a mile away. And Forrest, he's about to walk into a rude surprise. Except that Chris, he pulls it off. What? You have to believe in the angle, right? You just got to trust in that angle. But
And actually, with the bomb plant, if he was so sure that Forrest is going to come from behind, he could have hopped back to Neo.
Yeah, he could have.
Obviously, easy said in hindsight, but he seemed very certain of the fact that Forrest was going to come around, especially, as you said, hearing those footsteps.
He knew exactly where that guy was coming from, right? That is heartbreaking. What a loss for Chris. That would have been a huge clutch.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, just a pistol quasi-buy from NiP, and they actually win it. So equally huge clutch for them. That was a big round right there. So NiP, they gained back a measure of control. Nice little nade there on a Nico. Give him a little bit of a surprise as he tries to make his way into sewers. So the timing, getting it just right, and now the smoke goes down. And again, Nico not really going to have too much of an opportunity here early on in the round to have an impact.
Wow. And, well, Mouse, they've set up the same way pretty much every time. Unless they've been just barreling down for a contact push on B, this has been their default setup, and they haven't really gotten too much out of it, especially not from Nico. Nico hasn't had the same success of finding opening picks towards B as he did in his first game, but, well, Mouse is still being able to claw some rounds together.
This is like, those like ribbons on a piece of string that you play with the cat with, right? You know, where they can't,
It's
they
just
can
like
never seem
dangles
to
out in front of
catch
it?
it.
Yeah,
They can
yeah,
never
yeah.
seem to catch the damn thing, right? That's what's happening with Exist getting boosted up over there. Nico's the cat, obviously, right? And
He knows it's there.
he knows it's there, and he keeps coming out. He keeps going for it.
It's like, oh, there it is again. There it is again.
See? It's like a laser pointer, and he can never catch it right now. NiP, they're just too good at keeping it away.
Well, Mousesports, they realize what their strong points have been this half, though. Setting up for that sudden B execute again.
Well, a little bit of an adjustment there from NiP. And wow, lucky break there for Pyth. He gets flashed and he gets out and he manages to trade up 1-for-1 better than he should have got. Smoke is going to go down to allow for this bomb plant to happen, and it's a 3-on-3 retake scenario now for NiP. Get Right will find a headshot on Spitty, though, and just in the nick of time, that bomb gets planted. And now it all comes down to the shots, and next he's going to get caught. Perfectly done here by Get Right. Even spotted the second man, but not necessary for him to take that fight. Forrest will find it from on high. Where's the bomb? Who's going to get it? It's going to be Get Right with the defuse. So going into the 15th round now, it's going to be NiP with 9 rounds on the board.
Wow.
Mousesports, it's all or nothing now to at least get 6 rounds out of their T side.
Nico not going to be able to get any grenades unless he decides to go with something else. I guess he might go for an SMG or a Deagle and get some grenades instead, but actually taking some time to mull it over.
Yeah, he's chilling, isn't he?
It's just going for the AK. So no nades and a lot of Molotovs once again. And Nico, oh, he's just going to go for it.
Oh, wow, they lined up as well. Exist is too quick. I guess the HE tag was just enough to slow him down.
Wow. NiP, to their credit, they've been doing a really good job of, even though they've struggled on the B-bomb side, just defending it from actual executes, they've been doing a really good job of limiting Nico's contribution to this game from Mousesports. He hasn't really been able to do anything at all.
No, he really hasn't had much of an impact. It's where you kind of want to see him play as part of like the
team,
the pack,
yeah.
You know, the death ball that's roaming around on the map.
You know, send the toy dinosaur over towards B to keep people
That's
busy.
What I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. But the way that it's playing out now, Mousesports are a man down. Nades are starting to run a little low here on NiP's side, but there's only 50 seconds left in this round. Forrest has got the angle on the man holding close. He misses the shot, though, just off on the timing. And now they know that he's holding close to long. He does have a teammate watching his back, but it's not good enough. Chris J will catch Forrest. So we're back into a 4-on-4, and now Mousesports, they've got a chance. Can they get into this bomb site? Are they going to be worrying about Get Right? Freiberg is going to make sure they're damn worried about him, and that bomb's dropped in the open. Get Right hasn't even given up his position yet. He's still patiently just sitting here, and poor Dennis. Poor Dennis. Never knew. Never knew that Get Right had gone back to his roots.
Get Right's always behind you. Oh, pretty nice. I wouldn't call it a comeback from NiP, but, you know, steering the ship in the right direction again.
Certainly a good turnaround there, for
Yeah.
sure. A good recovery, I think, because
Yeah,
it was starting to get pretty scary there. Had like Chris J, for example, won that clutch.
Oh, yeah.
Like we could have been looking at 8-7, something along those lines, and then it's really a scary situation here for NiP. But 10-5 is a very respectable scoreline to have at the end of the first half.
Absolutely. Now we're finally going to see what Mousesports CT side is made of. Didn't get to see too much of it versus G2, but the initial impression was pretty solid. I think that's fair to say.
It'll also be really curious to see just what NiP are going to have for us on their T side now that Threat's calling on overpass.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that is going to be different, I think. A little bit, at least.
Well, it should be. It should be.
Although I don't feel like we really saw, like, the execute-heavy style of Threat, right? The Threat brings to the table as an in-game leader on Cash, right?
Yeah, we didn't really see the notorious Acer mid to A push or split, that type of thing. We didn't really see too much of that, but I guess they're still new. They might have practiced other maps more than Cash with Threat and kind of let him have full control over the reins there. But I don't know, Overpass. I don't really see that as a typical NiP map, even though they've played some pretty epic matches on it. But we'll see. I think in any case, even if they haven't implemented, let's say, Threat's, own tactics or anything of Acer has done previously or anything to that effect, it still helps having him with you and on the server and just kind of in your head talking to you about what you can do differently, what he actually sees in terms of things that are easily exploitable. I definitely think that, for instance, the way they handled Nico towards that B bomb side, it's definitely something they picked up, and that's probably a threat, being like, well, he did this pretty much every single round versus G2. So, you know, here's a way to deal with it, and that worked pretty nicely for the better part of it.
Yeah, you can be sure that Nico's a little frustrated. That could also show perhaps that Mousesports are still a little one-dimensional, not really able to change up.
Yeah,
right. If
definitely.
Nico's getting shut down completely on one side of the map, well, it's time to change up and start looking at things differently. As far as this map is concerned, we're going into the second half now. Mousesports with 5 rounds on the CT side, NiP with 10 rounds, full Kevlar across the board, apart from Freiburg, who's going for the utility with the flash, and after dropping two P250s, actually. Not going to help Pyth, of course. Biddy is going to, well, basically get that headshot to start with that USP. And well, now, Chris J, again, with the USP. Just like on Dust 2, he had a sick pistol round with the USP, 3 headshots. Can he do it again here versus NiP? There's the second one. Is he going to get the third? He has to know that somebody else is on long. Shots are going through, and he's looking for it. He's hungry right now to make a difference, and he's just going to whip around. He's still alive, and that's all that matters. Freiburg and Get Right, last 2 alive here for NiP. And with, well, they have a minute left, so might as well slow down the pace, I guess, because you're in a 2-on-4, so you got a lot of work ahead of you here.
Yeah, you need to find a pick. And the question is where you want to try to find that pick, towards A or towards B. Right now, Mousesports setting up with 3 people towards A, so could be tough. But they still have a flash on Freiburg, so they could potentially flash Get Right forward, see if he finds an easy pick, then back off, reposition, go again.
There it is. There's the flash. There's the peek from Get Right. Spots the man in bank. Knows that there's a man playing Optimus as well. He's looking for that shot onto Chris J. He's lost his support. Chris J looking for another headshot, and he's not going to get it. Instead, it's going to be Dennis to rob him in the end. But still, very solid work on this A side from Chris. I mean, he just completely shut down that part of the pincer that was coming up from long for NiP.
Oh yeah, no, he definitely slowed everything down, and you could tell that NiP, even after Force loses the initial battle with Chris J, there's no one from NiP are really eager to actually try to trade him. They just allow Chris to get into a new position, set up slow, set up in his angle, and wait instead of just putting him under pressure. And when you're as good with pistols as Chris J is, that's a pretty easy headshot to make.
No time wasted at all here for NiP. Brute force tactics. They're just going to go charging up mid. 1-for-1 trade there behind the Tech 9s. Freiburg is going to find next. And Chris, oh, he's got the scout, but it's not exactly the best weapon to use versus a high-volume rush, although dunking a nade onto Exist. It's stylish play. He gets points there. Dennis with the headshot using the MP7, and Freiburg going to be the last man alive. Gets a very crisp, clean headshot there with the P250 on her Dennis. But he's still only got 42 HP left, and he's caught in a bit of a crossfire scenario here. It doesn't matter. In the end, Nico takes the fight straight up and wins it. But Chris J was going to be the security there. He was going to be the one looking for that backstab eventually if the bomb got planted default.
Well, there's going to be one more eco coming out from NiP before they can actually buy up, and that means Mousesports is going to hold on to that one SMG in the scout from the previous round.
And it seems like more of the same. Single flash from Freiburg.
Yeah.
Straight up rushing to connector right now from NiP. 4 players dropping down. The single man Freiburg going to be heading a different direction over into mid just to make sure that there's no aggressive push coming out here from Mousesports.
And he's going to do the pop flash for Toilet, I would imagine. If Nyx had held a wider angle, that would have flashed him.
It's just like, it just looks like a mid flash basically if anybody's sitting in mid, right? A little bit odd. Not super clean, but they are able to recover an M4 at least. That's going to be on Get Right. Sadly, he has no Kevlar, so it's going to have to be straight headshots for him if he wants to be effective.
Well, they have all the time in the world. They don't really need to to do anything useful in this round. They just need to make sure they die before the time runs out at this point. So all they're looking to do is mess up as much of the Mousesports economy as possible. They could be able to do so as well, because if I recall correctly, Mousesports does not have a lot of cash stacked up.
No, they definitely lost a few more than they would have liked in the last round, right? So they've definitely tapped into their bank. It's not as sick as NiP's was, for example, at the beginning of the CT half.
And this is pretty ballsy from Mousesports, actually. They rotated 3 people, or there's a total of 3 people on that A bomb site, and they have a solo player playing that B bomb site. Even though they've only seen pretty much 1 player from NiP towards this A bomb site for the longest time.
Wow, perfect timing to fall back. Chris J does get headshot. Then Dennis decides to step into the fray. Double spray down for him. Spitty holding the line behind Optimus. And well, as soon as they try and press out, it's going to be Spitty there to greet them. Dennis is also looking for another kill. And he's going to spot out Exist. Wild spray from him, but eventually he gets the job done. It wasn't pretty to look at, but still,
got the job
it was
done.
effective.
Well, Dennis having a good game from Mousesports, and they're slowly climbing their way back, but now we're going to see what NiP are actually able to do with some actual nades.
Yeah,
a lot of smokes, no mollies.
That's got to be a misbuy.
Yeah, I would imagine so. That probably should have gone, bit of flash. I just used it instantly.
Yeah, that's a real shame. That could have been a couple flashes right there. That is an expensive mistake to make. So, Get Right can't be too pleased about that.
For these kind of executes that you could do on overpass, it's really, really nice to have Molotovs because they can block out so many awkward angles that you have to check on both bomb sites, really. You saw Mousesports used it heavily when going on B, and we've seen teams like Na'Vi do it heavily when they go towards A. So, not the perfect buy coming in from NiP, but the smokes alone can still set up a pretty iffy wall for Mousesports to deal with here towards A. All right, now they are only 2 players towards A, and they're not really playing that forward. Then they don't have an op on Chris J, so this could turn ugly.
You cursed him, Ben.
Yeah.
Oh, and he nearly gets the timing right on Spitty, who just goes right through the smoke.
What?
Spitty, what was that play? Bit brave there.
Optimistic.
Seems like Chris J just didn't know how many people were there. Maybe Spitty was thinking it's just one guy. Maybe I take the fight with him.
Yeah, could be. Still, you potentially give up the entire bomb site for a very chance-based call. Well, 2 men have rotated over from Mousesports, and NiP still have enough time to rotate over towards B if they want to do that, but setting up smokes, actually taking quite a bit of damage.
They're taking a lot of damage from the spray that's coming through, but they're keeping everybody alive right now, NiP, and that's the important bit. Now it kind of leaves Nico in a bit of an awkward spot. He's got a UMP, which is not exactly the best weapon. P90 might have been a little bit better here, considering how everybody's so low. You just want as many bullets so you can just run and gun. There's the first shot, so at least he's going to try and make a little money off of this. Gets 1 kill, but he's about to get flanked, so the longer he hangs around here, the worse it's going to get. Yeah, surprise, surprise! No, Freiberg loses it and donates an AK. Oh, now that got awkward. Now, actually, NiP have to run away or they're going to go up with this bomb.
You have one guy on the B bomb site for NiP just waiting for the rotation from Nico. Get right. Not surprisingly, lurking in the shadows.
That was that real Hollywood moment there for Nico, leaping through the air as the explosion goes off behind him.
Yeah, cool guys don't look at explosions.
Exactly, man. He's just getting out of there, James Bond. What do we have, though, for Mousesports? It looks like they have just enough to go for a force buy here.
Yeah.
Chris, he's got his op, and that means that Nex, yeah, Deagle for Nex, Kevlar. I'm so surprised that they keep getting helmets.
Yeah, it is actually kind of surprising.
That could have been a smoke
Next in this situation, well, yeah, he could have had an 8 or 2. Nico just kind of spent everything he had. He could have, I guess, bought a PT-50, that type of thing, but not going to be the end of the world, I think. And NiP on their side, just more nades, really, than what they had in the previous rounds.
Yeah, that's definitely the important bit.
Oh, the timing. Oh, Nico actually backs off instead of pushing forward.
That was over at Monster, so a little bit of information gained there for Nico going for the peak. Spitty wins the duel versus Freiberg and Connector, so at least now Mousesports have a man advantage to work off of. He's going to try and go for a peak further, perhaps, just to see. He realizes his flash wouldn't have been effective, so he's actually playing it safe. That was a very smart play there.
Well, NiP don't really have that much map control. Pyth's going to open things up, and just like that, fixes 2 frags for NiP, and that's going to scramble Mousesports a little bit. Still have that up on long. Ooh, that's a big shot to miss.
That's a big shot to hit, right?
Yeah.
Realizing that nobody was down in Connector, Dennis decides to go have a party.
Surprising amount of aggression, actually, and rotations coming out from Mousesports.
That is not the best angle to be just setting up a smoke from if you can get shot for free. Interesting. Nico's going to find the shot on Pyth. Nico going big. He takes out Exist as well, and Chris J whips around and removes Forrest.
Huh.
What is the impact this is going to have on the money here for NiP? Yeah, it's going to be all over the place. Do we have a force buy now, or do they just decide to take a round of eco to the teeth? They still have the lead here, NiP.
I think they should take it to the teeth at this point. Doesn't really make sense. It's not like they have a big enough lead to actually toy around with this. Mousesports could really easily get back into it, and you want to start putting as much pressure, you know, legitimate pressure on Mousesports' economy as possible. So we can do that by getting a buy run next time around without having Mouse, you know, setting up their economy too much. Well, Mousesports back to playing rather passively. It makes sense with that op on Chris. He can hold passively on long. No need for Speedy to kind of stand out there all alone without anyone to trade for him.
The same strategy used once again. Freiberg setting up the flash so that the rest of NiP can come out of connector into mid. So rinse and repeat here for NiP. Not really willing to show anything new here to Mousesports, it seems. Well, Mousesports, they continue to play very passively. I like this. You know, over on the B site, they're ready to rotate quickly up to the A site if they need to, having not rotated off. Chris, again, in that awkward spot, though, that awkward angle.
Not having head armor as well, so takes quite a bit of damage.
That was definitely a little bit too awkward there, but this is going to be the play for B side here eventually for NiP. They're moving their way towards Monster. They could get into Sewer as well. And it's still, but what I do love to see is that not having to see the bomb and no real, you know, push coming out from NiP onto that A site, they haven't rotated off the B site. So Dennis is still here. He still has the support of Nico as well. So NiP should not be getting up onto this for free. They should definitely be suffering some damage here. Big spray coming out here from Dennis, and he controls it, takes a deep breath, channels his inner scream, gets the headshot. Exist gets caught again, another headshot for Dennis. And yeah, this is going to be a fairly easy, straightforward round here for Mousesports. We'll see if Freiberg can make it costly for him, but that's not the case. Next catches him in a perfect anti-eco round coming in here for Mousesports. That is exactly what they need.
Yeah, absolutely. Not losing a single person, but if you're NiP, you're pretty happy about the outcome of that as well. You do get a bomb plant, so you get a bit of a better buy than what you normally would have had, and you could tell their nades are definitely the result of that.
Interesting that Force doesn't go for the AWP. He had more than enough money for it.
Could be, actually, yeah. He still has money to buy more nades.
Yeah, what is that? And Get Right did too, so I don't understand why they weren't just maximizing their nades here.
Guess they might just want to have a shot at getting more full buys. Or when I say full buys, they just want to have more rifle buys for the future. That could be it. But if you can't get rounds easily without having to use a lot of nades, I don't see why you wouldn't invest in it when you have the opportunity. So first going down exists as well, and it's not looking great for NiP. Kind of contact play that Mouse did so well on their T side. Not really garnering the same results for NiP just yet.
No, pretty ugly actually. Garrett's going to walk right into Speedy though, and Speedy, very clever stuff. He will get spotted by Freiberg, who has been hitting a lot of shots, but Freiberg's only got the 23 HP. And little does he know, he's getting flanked by Chris J. Oof. So he just barely makes it down. He hears the steps, and Chris, he's getting impatient here. A little bit too much, Chris. You're going to pay for this. Now Freiberg going to catch him. Now Freiberg in a 1v2. Chris J, I'm surprised, definitely getting impatient. He could have just walked right in there and just held that angle, and Freiberg couldn't have done a damn thing about it.
Yeah, I mean, they know the bomb is on site, so there's no need for Chris to actually push further. It's very odd, and all of a sudden it becomes a really expensive round for Mousesports unless they're able to pick it up after Freiberg's taken care of. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess they're counting. You know, they're counting the lucky stars. They had such a solid anti-eco before.
True.
They were going to be wrecked in some kind of like weird force buy. No, Freiberg, he does do the best. He did get that flick in, but he wasn't able to connect with the shot. Wasn't able to get the kill. So, Mousesports, they'll be spending a bit more money, but they have ample bank for that. At NiP, they really needed a bomb plant there. If they were going to lose that round, they had to get it. That bonus 800 would have meant a full buy pretty much across the board. Now they have to go for a quasi buy, allowing Mousesports to take the lead if they don't manage something big here.
So far, NiP's T side not looking too impressive.
They definitely seem to be struggling quite a bit. I mean, what, have they picked up like one round basically?
Yeah, and they do get forward on the map, which is nice enough, but their execution hasn't really done all the much.
Too much.
Yeah.
Surprised. Like, yeah, that's that kind of situation where it's like, yes, okay, it's feel, I suppose, but you saw two guys there. You know, the risks.
I don't think he heard the scout coming out or saw it. So I was figuring, well, if it's only Tech 9s from all that distance, then I can actually go for it. Got an op on Get Right. No, I mean scout on Get Right and op on Forest now.
I was about to say, never a good sign to see Get Right with an op. Quick, change it up.
Well, Mouse is still playing patiently, which is a good thing. There's no need for them to actually throw away more weapons than necessary. And NiP, seems like they're kind of close as to what they want to do. Obviously, they want to try to find a pick, but
Oh, he'll get it. Spitty not actually going for the re-peek into mid, and instead, yeah, easy shot. Next gets caught out in the middle of nowhere. Well, now a 3-on-3. That bomb is still over in long, so it's going to cost some time. But Get Right finds a headshot on Nico. Big kills coming through here. Spitty and Dennis, the last two alive from Mousesports. They are on the site, or the rotation is coming in from Dennis, but Spitty is here to hold the line. Perfect flash comes through, picks up the first kill. Could get the second, and he does. And now it's all about staying alive and playing the clock. No need to even take that fight that straight up. Decides to be brave about it, but with so little time to play there, that was way too close.
Unfortunate for NiP, the Molotov doesn't clear out the entire area, so Speedy's just able to hang out on the corner. Pick up 4 frags in total.
Beautiful work here, though. That flash and the follow-up. That was very well done. He did get tagged in the end as well.
And then now we're going to see a full buy from NiP, and there you go. There's the op you were requesting on Forest.
Yeah, I think he needs the big guns. He had a great headshot on Chris last round, so I mean, give him that op. Start getting him to go to work here. And they are going to go for the boost. I like it. Or it looked like for a second that they were going to go for the boost. Instead, it's just going to be a flash and a peek and a Molotov to force Chris J back. So NiP not willing to go for the fancy stuff. Instead, just using that utility.
Yeah. And again, this is kind of been the story the entire time. They're gaining map control, but Mousesports seems to be perfectly fine with giving up map control as long as they're able to hold on to the sites. And they'd rather just overstack that A-bomb site with 3 players than actually worry about giving an NiP a chance to execute. They don't really seem to fear NiP's executes at all.
No, they're willing to challenge all the time. Nico, I mean, there you go. Spitty takes out Forest. Nico hit a great headshot on Pyth. And now NiP, they're trying to change up and go towards that B site. See if they can have the same luck that Mousesports did versus them. And well, this is one way to do it. Exist getting boosted up. He's going to be looking towards barrels. Not going to see anybody, but he's getting good info here. At least they know now. Well, okay, we don't have to worry about that part. Smoke goes down onto the site. Molotov as well. Molotov is going to go onto barrels, so they are going to still be thorough about this. They don't want the man to be able to push up. Instead, forces Nico to play from pit, and that opens it up for Chris J on high. Big spray coming in here, and Chris J just laying it on like the hand of God from the heavens. And he's still alive right now, looking for that, and he's going to get it. 3rd kill for Chris, and that is going to pretty much tomb things here for NiP. They're down to, what, 4,000, 3,400? I mean, it's enough to force, or you go for just the Tech 9 Quasi if you're brave.
I think you buy a Tech 9, okay, they're going to buy up again. Okay, well, I guess they haven't really made much of their executions, so maybe they just want to try a contact play with rifles and see how that plays out. Right now, they've been letting the time run out pretty much down to 0 every time they get towards a bomb site, and it hasn't been working out, so maybe picking up the pace is the way to go.
Whoa, 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 Spitty. Risky stuff here. No peek behind that from NiP, but he was definitely full flash, and there was a chance. So they're still continuing to be thorough. Pyth trying to hold that angle off on Chris J, who's still hanging around here. He's still got eyes on top mid, so Pyth could be walking into a bit of a nasty surprise.
Chris actually going to smoke himself off.
Oh, buddy.
Do it. Aw.
How sick would that have been, especially when they were lined up?
Yeah.
Just like, get wrecked.
I might actually get wrecked himself here. Oh, no, he's actually going to back off. Smart choice for Chris J. And again, got 3 players from Mousesports over towards that A-bomb site, which is very different from NiP. You primarily play with 3 people towards B.
He's trying to bait out any kind of shot that might be coming in from long as well. He will eventually get there, spots the man jumping around. Not sure if Exist saw him, though.
This is so surprising to me because NiP are running down the clock, but they only have 1 smoke to work with, so what kind of executes are they actually getting?
What the hell happened to Chris there? Why did he just
out?
stop? Did he time out?
Oh,
He just froze.
If that's gonna put NiP back in the game, then that's horrifying.
Oh no, Exist catches next. Shot onto Freiberg, and he will get caught. Dennis tries to force the issue, but Forrest is there to catch out Nico. Now it is all on Spitty. Big spray from him, but it's not going to be enough. And that's... If Chris dropped there, yeah, the pause. Because he just stopped.
No, yeah, he literally just stopped, and it's very possible that Chris would have been able to get another frag there.
Yes, absolutely. That should have been a freebie for him if he was already lined up and looking.
As if Mousesports haven't had enough things go against them at this point.
Seriously. Oh, that is unfair.
It's definitely not what they need.
Given the situation, though, what can you do there? Because I mean, you're already so far into the round. I mean, it is a key round, but you're already so far into the round.
I don't think you can replay that.
No, I think you have to just accept it and move on.
Chris has already gotten a frag. You know, there's already been frags in the round, and it happens literally like a millisecond before he dies. So it's not like the guy shooting at him can see like, oh yeah, this guy's clearly timed out. I'm gonna take advantage of that and shoot him. It's more like, oh, there's a guy in front of me. I'm gonna, kill him.
Yeah.
So it's not something that, yeah. It's tough though, boy. I don't. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to actually see if this is gonna be reloaded. I guess if it is reloaded, I think it's more because NiP are just feeling very kind-hearted.
Well, no, there we go. No, it's just gonna be it's gonna be stuck with. I mean,
it's just gonna continue on. Yeah.
It's just unfortunate, but that's got to fire Chris up. He's just got to take this and run with it and have an impact in this round. Try and turn that around because he could have definitely been the focal point there for Mousesports in that round. If he'd have picked up 2 kills, been a totally different situation there with that take for NiP.
I think he's going to have to be the focal point of this round as well, just looking at the weaponry from Mousesports. 5.7s, UMPs. So not the greatest. Well, NiP. Same procedure as every year.
Yeah, they aren't changing much. Bit of a deep smoke there from Chris. Just a little bit. So that he can have that. Identical from last round, and this time Chris was moving, so he wasn't able to pull the trigger. Does he actually push in here? No way is he this crazy.
Balls.
No way. Oh, no
but
way.
Is he actually going to look toward...
No!
He's not... It's not his day. You had the 1v1 versus Forrest. He then gets some freeze lag or something, and now gets timed again.
I don't even, Ven. I don't even.
I don't think Chris evens.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Is
this the tipping point? Is this the tipping point?
It could very well be because Mouse are broke if they lose this.
They're not tilted. There's the flash. There's the play. Big double spray coming in from Spitty, but he can't convert it into 2. Just the single 1-for-1 trade. And now Exist presses forward, removes next, and this is just spinning out of control. And NiP, they know how to ratchet up the pressure, and Mousesports, they're buckling. They just can't hang. So now Dennis, he's playing from bank, but he's going to have to back off. He's got to hold on to this M4. Even hanging around here to get a kill is silly. This M4 can make the difference in the next round, so.
I really could.
That is...
Look at that. The money's so awful in Mousesports.
Yeah, that is incredibly frustrating. This allows NiP to just get ahead. They'll be able to get up to 14 rounds. Nicely done. Nearly the second, and ran out of bullets, it looked like.
Well,
there you go. There you have it. So Mousesports now, they have a decision to make. Is it going to be the force buy?
Oh, no, you have to eco here. For my sanity's sake, I hope they eco.
Seems like it. Seems like it's just going to be a pistols invested into this. Nico, hard eco for him.
Next, you could have dropped the deagle for your buddy Nico. I think that would have been a fair investment.
Yeah, considering it's Nico, I mean.
Yeah, and you've got a 3.2. If you're buying, you're already sacking nades, right? So. Oh well.
Yeah, well is right. No flash to make things easier at long. So it's going to come down to Chris J just hoping that somebody walks into his waiting arms.
Yeah, NiP. Again, there's not really lots of variations as to what NiP are doing. Setting up the same thing, Python's going to throw the same Molotov. Boom.
Yeah.
Here we go. Now it's just the waiting game. NiP are just taking this as slowly as possible.
It's as methodical as it gets. Freiburg is in a bit of a tricky spot, though. Molotov goes down. And he's going to be able to... That actually saves it. He manages to pick off Nico. That was the key kill.
Wow.
Dennis gets caught out by Get Right, and just like that, NiP retained control of the round, of the situation.
Yeah. They were pretty quick to tell that. You could see that Get Right, the instant he saw that there were 2 people in door, Freiburg was like, I need help, I need help. Get Right would have been there to potentially get a trade if Freiburg were to go down. All right, Speedy picks up Freiburg finally, but no weapon around, and now it's all on Nex.
And it's all...
And it's all but over.
It's all but over, yeah. Triple for Get Right, and now we have the pause, and this might be the pause. This might actually be a tactical pause.
The first tactical pause.
We might actually have a tactical pause on our hands here, where Mousesports get to discuss exactly how they want to go about this, because let's see, the money...
Well,
Chris is 250 shy of actually picking up a glass cannon AWP, so it wouldn't make sense for him to do that. Spitty could drop one, but then he'd be, just
utterly broke,
running around with, a rifle, which would be kind of silly if he gets into a fight. So, without that op, that Chris J's been having an impact with,
what's your play?
What is the play here? Do they aggressively take over sewers?
Well, that's the thing.
Give up mid?
Mousesports haven't really played forward in the map at all this entire CT half. They and the pistol, they pushed up towards Fountain, saw people, ran instantly back to site and held. It's kind of been the same story over and over again. I think the most aggressive we've seen people on towards A is Chris J that last round where he got caught out in the corner by Forrest. So maybe aggression is the answer, but that said, I'm not really sure how much of a gain you're going to get from it, because NiP have set up in the exact same way about 10 rounds in a row. They do the same thing. They have Get Right looking towards speed. They have Freiburg down in underpass, and 3 remaining guys take over Fountain the same way, throw the same Molotov to prevent Chris from getting a peek, and then they just kind of sit around and wait. So if you're at Mousesports right now, it's on to you to actually figure out what kind of default NiP are running, and the fact that they're actually doing it every single time, and see if you can abuse that. If you want to risk it with an aggressive play, or you could just play the same way you've done previously. But looks like it's going to be a bit more aggressive here.
Double HG to top mid, just in case Mousesports wanted to go for a charge play. Alright, so some variation already here from NiP. They have changed it up, but then Pyth, he still has that incendiary, and it's still going to go through, and he's still going to hang around here and see if he can catch somebody in mid. But this time there's action on long here, or there's Chris J playing long. He's got support from Speedy, who's holding aggressive restrooms, and he's got Nex in mid as well, mid restrooms. So definitely a big change here in how Mousesports are holding.
Yeah. This is where they're just hoping to pick off. More or less surprised NiP before they get close to the bomb sites. And Nex is going to be the first guy in there.
That was ugly, but that sets it up nicely.
Yeah.
1-2 combination punch.
Exact same. It's like you're replaying the round if you're NiP at that point. Same move, same setup, and you have the 2 same players walking the exact same way and looking the same direction over and over again. And eventually, it's just a matter of time before Mousesports pick up on that.
Well, they actually make it work this time, and so Mousesports now, I mean, there's something to do here. They've actually got some room to maneuver with. It looks like there's a bit of a boost going up there. Get Right hanging around on top, trying to scope out where the CTs were set up on this B site. But again, it's that passive hold from back in CT, and a fantastic shot from Nico. Instantly takes out Get Right. Forrest has got eyes on Sniper, but it's just not going to be enough because Nico's busy wrecking his team. He's the last man alive, and Nico, he wants more. But it's going to be Nex to pick up the kill. So 14-14 in the end. These teams just so evenly matched, just like cash all over again.
Yeah.
Now, can they hold this time, Mousesports? If they win this round...
Is this NiP doing the tactical boss?
Must be. So, considering the one strategy has been figured out, do NiP have a second strategy in the books?
This is where you let Threat just take reins and be like, tell us what to do, Master.
Tell us what to do, Threat. That's just like...
Puppet Master, please, control us.
Get headshots. Forehead.
But then again, it's kind of a similar story as to Mousesports. Neither team has changed up the way they play their T side all that much. And at the end of it, we saw Mousesports being like, "Oh yeah, maybe we should try to push up the tempo a tiny bit." or do execute towards B instead of just doing the same default where Nico dies towards B or doesn't, you know, isn't allowed to find a frag. So maybe that could be the way for NiP as well. Look at the aggression. Like Mousesports know what they're setting up for, but NiP, they're going long now.
They are going long, and they line it up. Oh, and there's the failure. Chris J, he needed to stay on top of that, but Pyth was just too quick with the headshot. Well, now Spitty's in a bit of an awkward spot. Where's he going to turn to? The bomb is wrapping back around towards B. Now NiP, they really aren't taking too much time about this. Instant rotation from them. Instant, they're just like pulling off along.
Are you actually going to push forward?
Does he know the get right? Of course not. Of course not. And now get right. Little does he know, but that is the last man alive on this B site. And so the smoke goes down to block off CT. NiP, they are not wasting any time at all. Fantastic shot coming in from Dennis. Managing to take out Forrest at range, despite the fact that Forrest had the AWP and was looking towards Sniper as well. So that was pretty solid. But now the bomb gets planted out in the open, and it's all or nothing here for Mousesports. There's no backing off.
They have a smoke and a Molotov, so they can zone out people here.
Oh, no.
Bungled.
Oh, no. Well, time to get the, you know, elbow grease. Ben, elbow grease. You got to get in there, and you just got to win the fights. That's it. You know, get in there, take that fight. Spitty, man, just the best the first man, but there's still Get Right alive, and Get Right is not going to mess up this situation. He's going to win it 9 times out of 10. So 2 kills there for Get Right in the round, and the 15th round on the board here for NiP. We have once again gone the distance vendetta. It's the 30th round. It's a force buy for Mousesports. And, well, let's see. Is it another round of overtime?
With the luck Mousesports have had and they've, you know, given themselves, I'm saying no.
You're saying no?
Yeah, I think NiP should close this out. The buy from Mousesports just not that impressive. Well, NiP, they've shown they can alter the strat they've done 13 rounds in a row.
No, they can't, because they're just going to go long again with 3.
Yeah, the 2 variations, man.
Like, okay, we can't go mid, guys. Go long.
Flips the script completely.
Oh, buddy, there might be a good opportunity here, though. Does he realize? Get Right, he falls back. He closes the angle. Chris gets a second. Does he get the third? Oh, he's still alive. HE on to Chris.
Chris needs to be so much faster with those trades.
Yes, he does. Moment's hesitation is all that matters there.
Oh, wow.
Well, now, actually, they're going to figure out that there's nobody on this A site. Pyth, he's taking point from long. He's like, wait, okay, checked close. Nobody.
Size information and actually being able to use that properly to counteract what NiP are doing. So that's more on the guys on that A bomb site to actually do something about it.
Well, guys, I know you've enjoyed listening to our voices for the past 2 hours, but now it's time to hear the analysts break down that magnificent best of 2. So, Lee, it's all you.
Thank you very much, guys. Stick itty bitty dinosaur to suddenly get fangs and be this monster creature. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't quite enough. They didn't count on Forrest. being a beast over on Cash, and then Freiburg woke up on Overpass.
Freiburg was sick. But you've got to feel for Mousesports. How many of those rounds were like one-on-ones, or like not necessarily unlucky, but like timing just didn't seem to be on their side. And Chris J, in that one moment where he literally just stopped working for some reason. Like, whatever happened to Chris J, he just stopped.
Yeah.
And then the spiral off the back, the timing on then just trying to push out through toilets towards peaking long. It's like, you've got to feel there's a little bit of bad luck involved in some of these rounds.
The thing is, like, NiP looked so weak. When we open up on Cash, they're on the CT side, they lose a pistol, and it takes them a while to get into it. They win one round, and then they lose the subsequent one, and money's getting reset. They're having a really tough time, like, even breaking into the game. It goes down to, like, I think it was like 7-1 at some stage, opening it up. Then all of a sudden, Forest comes to life, as you said. He gets the AWP and starts just absolutely wrecking the map and breaking it down all over the place. And it seemed like Mousesports never really recovered. That half ended with them winning it. But the problem is on their T side, right? It's whenever it's this new new ideas they've got of NiP being the in-game leader and also the lurk role player as well. He's trying to crack open bomb sites by himself pretty much consistently across the board. If he doesn't get those kills and they're locking down to what he does, it seems like the CTs kind of have quite an easy time reading the situation quite well. If NiP goes into a place by himself, this time it's towards A storage or even walking into B by himself, if he gets taken down, a lot of teams are starting to read what he's doing. And NiP just capitalized on that. And it was actually quite difficult to watch them lose those two maps. Obviously very close and so many clutch situations going forward, but I feel like it's a real problem for Mousesports right now of kind of not be so stubborn of Nico's kind of philosophy going into each round.
I want to draw it back to, obviously we saw them playing Overpass against G2. Very different mouse.
Well, I think at least early in the T side, Nico had his way with G2 until obviously Scream had to kind of step up and deal with that threat, whereas Nico never seemed to really get rolling against NiP to the same sort of, I guess, degree. But as you said, they became quite static, quite repetitive, and Freiburg had a wonderful time with it, as did Forest, and even Pitt having a couple of rounds where he became quite alive. So really, it was a shame to see, because as you said, it got so close. But once NiP, even on Cash, once they got those full buys in on the CT side, especially once they all got the utility to deal with Mouse, they seemed to be able to handle them a lot better. And there's some small errors. Thinking back to Cash on the T side, like one missed molly meant that Freiburg was suddenly able to get involved on the B side. It wasn't such an easy gateway into the game, and these small things just falling apart at the wrong time seem to cost Mouse a hell of a lot more than what they'd probably expect.
And at what stage, sorry, I just want to say, with Nico obviously being the in-game leader, what stage do you say, hey, Chris J, do you mind backing it up a little bit? Like that little chase he did around restrooms, just basically followed them around.
You've got to just feel for Chris J, though, because surely just...
Oh, he got so unlucky with some of the stuff, yeah.
That's just
that one-on-one with, I think it was Forest, when he... Just the time he was staring at Monster, and then just, right, okay, I'm going to look this way, and literally Forest comes through Monster.
That was one of the key clutches of the game as well. I see, like, he completely read the situation perfectly, and it just came down to, like, second timing. He was watching that angle for, what, like, 7 seconds almost, and the moment he decides to face, of course, that's when Forest comes out. There was loads of clutches like that as well. Like, you remember the pistol when Nico got it down to a 1v1, and, like, made perfect decisions as well, and then unfortunately exists out times him as well. He only had 1 HP to work with. It's just a little bit of a depressing story for Mousesports on the second map. Obviously, NiP coming in with that 10-5 first half and looking very strong indeed. Mousesports clawed their way back into it. Actually did very well to get so many rounds in a row, but NiP closing things out in the end.
So let's spin back to Cash briefly. They were 8-2 up on Cash on the T side, and then Forest happened basically, and then a couple of things just didn't go their way.
And the utility finally came alongside with NiP. Something that Semler and Vendetta noticed pretty early on is once they seemed to get a little more to work with into these rounds to slow down Mouse with this kind of like not singular mindset, but a very focused mindset, it became a lot easier to handle. And of course, Forest, I think there was before they actually broke into consistently winning rounds, it was just him on the A site being ridiculous and actually pretty much securing one of the 2 rounds that they had until they finally
That's the thing. He had to go godlike just to get them into that game to begin things with. Like that's before he even started getting really rolling. Like he actually won the. It was like I think it was like a 4-2 or something. And then Forest comes on the A bomb side to the forklift area, finds 3, and gets him into the game. They actually lose the round after that, but it's actually that was the beginning of the end for Mousesports. That's when he really got rolling. Got them 7 rounds in the first half, something they really needed. He was so dynamic, moving around the map. The thing is, what we've kind of been questioning since Alu's departed this team. We're kind of wondering who's going to pick up this all brawl. Is this something like Pitt's going to be forced into? But obviously Forest was the second real for NiP for so long, and now he seems like he's more focused on moving into that. For me, when you've got someone like Forest who's such a world-class rifler and someone who can have so much impact on the map, he is a good AWPer, but it's kind of interesting how they're going to go forward. Obviously, Mousesports are a very good team, but going up against the true great snipers, I'm wondering how Forest will be able to compare to them.
Well, we saw Exist do it on Mirage.
Yeah, well, that's the thing,
we
right,
were
yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
is this a thing now? So, but yeah, fantastic games overall. Obviously, 2-0 for NiP. We should also probably just briefly mention Virtus Pro Envy. We didn't get to do an analyst segment for that. You guys obviously cast that game.
Yeah.
Virtus Pro finally waking up a little bit.
Well, Taz and Neo certainly did. Taz on the first map, Neo on the second. Neo was ridiculous. Like, he literally single-handedly clutched so many of those rounds. It would probably been a far more one-sided scoreline if he didn't, but Taz overall was outstanding on...
Yeah, Taz is making
Cobble,
things
yeah.
happen and by himself time and time again. And it looked like Envious actually had that game tied up. It was actually a pretty weak buy from VP at 15-13. And it was that 4-on-2 with, I think it was Taz and possibly Neo as well. I think that was
it
it.
was Taz
And
Neo,
yeah, and that was actually such a sick clutch for them to win, just showing that they are the true masters of those situations, true veterans of the game, and reading it so well, and actually subsequently wins in the map. Like, had they lost that round, obviously it's game over, but they win a 4-on-2, goes to overtime, double overtime in fact, and they come back and win it. This is just showing these guys are not done just yet. Obviously, they've had a poor run in 2016. They've only really been playing Pro League, but they've got Katowice next week. They've got the majors coming up. They need to start really working hard now. They're out of boot camp, and they're showing us they can still compete at this level.
And I think that's the key, really. A lot of the teams tonight were at boot camps, and I think Virtus Pro showed, okay, we are all together. We can still perform. We can still turn up. But you guys at home, don't forget to check out the Score Esports app as well. You can check out all the scores, obviously, that may have happened tonight, and the stats as well as articles. But you guys at home, let's refresh your memories of the matches for tonight. Of course, we started off the night with G2 up against Mousesports. G2 picking up their first win on Dust 2, and then obviously it was over to Overpass, where Mousesports came out on top. Moving on, of course, it was Envious versus Virtus Pro, as we just discussed that big double overtime on Cobblestone. It was such a close game, but Virtus Pro finally get themselves their first win, but unfortunately it was followed by a loss on Mirage. And then spinning on, of course, we move on to Mousesports versus NiP. It was Cash and Overpass, and it was NiP that pick up both wins. That was, of course, the hot match of the night for the Score Esports. You guys at home, thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget there is more CS action happening, and that will be in... Well, actually, we're quite late, so it's probably in about an hour's time, I would say. America's probably
Just
kicking
chill
off.
out.
It will be Winterfox up against Splice, and that will be followed by AGG versus Selfless.
Fantastic.
Tonight. And, of course, don't forget, obviously, coming up tomorrow, we're going to have some pretty damn big games. Na'Vi versus NiP, starting things off. Train and Mirage, that's going to be an absolute fantastic starter. Then Astralis up against Virtus Pro, you can see on Overpass and Cash. And spinning on, another big one to finish the night off. El Clasico is what it used to be many moons ago. SK up against Fnatic, Overpass and Cash to finish the night off. Hopefully, it won't quite be as long a night as we had tonight. Lots of overtimes, but you never know. We'll see what happens. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, guys. I don't even know what Matt is telling us.
Who knows?
We're gonna replay the last round, guys, because apparently you guys missed it. So what we're gonna do is show it you all again. Enjoy.